Let's jump into that first story. This is incredible. So we've heard rumors. There was local reporting from independent outlets that they called tow companies, and the companies are like, look, we're not getting involved in this. We don't want to, tow these trucks because we work with them and things like that. But now we have the CBC and the government acknowledging towing companies on city contracts even are refusing to move convoy vehicles. You're going to love this. Look at this. According to Connellicos, Mayor Jim Watson has reached out to his counterparts in other Ontario municipalities, but no dice. No one wants to help. Right now, the consensus seems to be that many of them, or most of them, don't want to do the work because they rely on the heavy truck industry for their livelihood, and they don't want to damage that part of their business. That's the position they're taking, at least. Deputy Police Chief Steve Bell agreed that finding companies that will agree to tow protesters has been a challenge in, quote, every jurisdiction that's faced this, and it's forcing us to come up with some creative solutions. He wouldn't elaborate on what those creative solutions might be, but said police are coming, quote, toward a position where we're not going to let the tow truck operators be an obstacle to ending what's occurring. I just want you to think about that last quote for one quick second. What does that mean? They're an obstacle. Oh, you've gone to a private company and said, I require your service. And they said, good day, sir. And you said, you are now an obstacle to me ending a protest. What are they going to do? Steal the tow trucks and operate them themselves? They're not going to know how to do it. Could you imagine some cop being like, let me just figure this thing out. I think I can get it. They'd have to steal the vehicles, commandeer these companies because the companies won't do it.
It's very difficult to tow trucks when the tow trucks won't tow trucks.
Exactly.
Well, there's also a quote from local trucker who laughed at the prospect when someone asked him, are you worried about getting towed? And he said, anybody who's worked with these big rigs knows that when you activate the air brakes, these things cannot move unless the operator wants them to move.
Safety thing, yeah.
So the tow truck drivers are like, that's one of the other stories we have. They're basically saying removing trucks, well, they're literally saying, would be almost impossible. It's a gridlock. Think about it this way, too. You've got, let's say you have 4x4 trucks in the road. How are you going to be able to tow one of the trucks one at a time and try and clear it out? It's insane. They're heavy duty. The companies won't do it. And even if they could, these trucks have basically gridlocked the area. There's smaller cars. I'll say this, physically possible, logistically impossible.
Yeah.
Moving all these cars to get to the trucks and then clear everything out, it's never going to happen.
Yeah, not without the cooperation of the tow truck companies who can give you the expertise necessary, not without some amount of meaningful coercion that you can enforce. I mean, you think about if you had an individual tow truck or an individual trucker who was pulling a stunt like this, okay, you could probably figure out how to do it. If you find one tow truck, you could be like, also like, we're going to throw you in jail for a long time unless you help us. The longer you wait, the worse it'll be for you. But when you've got like a mass protest like this where the tow trucks are, it's just they're in an impossible situation.
Well, one of the things I love so much about this is that there have been so many instances in this country of specific special interest groups with a lot of money and power who are very cunning, trying to resist specific policies and not being able to. And then you have these truckers who band together and no one can do anything about it. It's really incredible.
Well, the crazy thing is the solidarity, I guess. Yeah. It's that the truckers took action and the tow truck drivers are like, nah, we work with these guys. We're not getting involved. They can offer up the cops everything in the world. Apparently, Ottawa police are exempt from the vaccine mandates. They give them special privileges, and the cops, with a smile on their face, put the boot on your neck. But when it comes to the industry of truckers, too many people rely on them. Imagine it this way, too. It's not just tow truck drivers. There's probably a supermarket, and the cops are going to be like, don't you provide service to these truckers? They're going to be like, I don't want to get involved because if I start making these guys angry, they don't deliver to my store anymore. I got to work with these guys, man.
Yeah, if the truckers boycott a grocery store chain, that chain's in trouble.
Yeah.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I love about this so much is that it has to be unbelievably frustrating to them because the government has been able to push around literally everybody. And you look at all the incredibly powerful people who cower at the face of policies and try to resist them but are unable, and then you just have truckers banding together and people standing in solidarity with them, and the political class is unable to do anything about it.
It's kind of like an immune system. Like it's a natural emergence of the system. It rises up and defends itself. It wipes out any kind of ill. That's what it seems like. It seems like
Well, the truckers are like the red blood cells
true.
of the body, but now these truckers are acting like white blood cells, weeding out a dangerous corruption in our
Macrophages.
system.
I guess-
Macrophages.
I guess what I'm really trying to say here is there's an incredibly valuable lesson in all of this, because it wasn't a think tank. It wasn't a political interest organization. It wasn't any group of intellectuals that banded together to resist this policy and push back against it. Like, it was literally just ordinary people.
It's like a snooty rich kid on the playground who's bullying people because he's allowed to do whatever he wants. And then there's some just like regular working class kid who minds his own business. And everyone's always getting picked on by the snooty rich kid. And then everyone's just like, I wish you would stop. And then one day, the regular kid who's just like, he just gets up and he's a bigger dude and he just shoves the snooty little kid to the ground. And he's like, you can't do that. Don't you know I am? And he goes, shut up.
Yeah.
It's just like you finally push the quiet guy. He's had enough of your BS and there's nothing you can do except comply.